Welcome
Hello
back
everyone.
to the Inside
This is the
Line.
Formula One.
Kunal, what
Rishi.
are you doing? Welcome back to the
Hello
Inside
everyone.
Line.
This is the
Kunal.
Inside Line Formula One podcast.
Kunal.
Yes.
Why are you overlapping me? Haven't I told you? Multi21, Multi21.
That is only for on track.
Okay, the team orders say on the Inside Line, I open the podcast
Yes.
and Kunal fills it. My name is Rishi Kapoor. Kunal Shah is here. We've been exchanging tweets and messages and we are really excited because media needs controversy and Formula One's second race in 2013, the season, has given us one and a huge one.
One? We had plenty of these, Rishi.
This is going to be one gala.
Yeah. People should get themselves a few drinks, could be a few beers and a few chips, and then sit in front of their device and listen to us, because I'm sure it's going to be a long one.
Okay, long lost friendship. Weber versus Vettel. What is your interpretation of what happened on track? And I want a clear-cut one.
Oh my god. Okay. Multi21 is bullshit in my view.
Red bullshit.
Yes, you're the man. So Multi21 is Red Bull shit in my point of view. It was pretty evident that Vettel wanted to overtake Weber. Okay,
Yes.
It just didn't happen by chance. The overtaking maneuver started as good as 3 corners back.
Correct.
Okay, when they crossed the line. Weber's accusations, etc., don't hold true to me somewhere. I mean, my heart goes out to him, but I'm still glad Vettel won. I would have done the same thing if Alonso had crashed and I could have swiped 25 points straight away.
I think what Red Bull did wrong was they tried to choreograph this in the wrong way.
Yes, I know. Yeah, that's a possible valid view. But again, coming back to where you started saying, if you were Weber, you would possibly go back on the radio and ask the team what's happening.
Yes.
Okay, but let me put it the other way. Maybe Vettel has defied the team orders. Okay, when I say maybe, because we are all assuming all this, we don't know what actually happened pre and post the race. Okay, slightly concerned for how Red Bull Racing is currently viewed. Okay, it suddenly seems as though Vettel is one above everyone, including Christian Horner, Adrian Newey, and Helmut Marko.
Yes.
Okay, in which case it's not good, because when the power shifts from the team to the driver, it's really dangerous. Okay, and I think that is something that's happened. If you recollect, this is something that happened in Ferrari as well during the Todd, Brawn and Schumacher era.
Correct.
Okay, I don't know if it's a repeat of that or I don't know, but
Mark clearly knows that he's the number 2. I mean, let's face it, he's been told he's not, but he is the number 2. Then why not keep it straightforward and tell him, you're the number 2, we want our guy to win. Even if it's the second race of the season, this is the clear-cut notification.
yeah, I mean, that's precisely what Ross Brawn and Nico Rosberg exchanged while they were driving.
And that entire message from the Mercedes radio was, you know whose daddy Ross Brawn is.
Yes.
You gotta listen to him. But my friend Kunal over here, he claims that he heard Rosberg say,
Remember this one.
and that means that
when Rosberg needs the help from Lewis and the team, he is going to make a claim for it.
And it's really disappointing because Lewis Hamilton himself thinks Rosberg should have overtaken him.
I don't believe any of the stuff that happened on the podium. It's all PR talk, and I know how it works. Okay, so I will not fall for any of that. But I must tell you, Rosberg very strongly believes that the team will do the same thing when he is in a similar situation.
Lie, pants on fire.
But let's not forget, it was Brawn
Yes.
who actually survived and made sure thrived in the Schumacher-Barrichello era. So what I mean is the number 1, number 2 driver era.
Yes, it is. Let's just take our attention to a team that is not in 1, 2 or top 5 as well. McLaren and Sergio Perez actually did a pit stop on the penultimate lap. Now, what the hell was happening there? Was there some testing format?
Possibly they wanted to test a pit stop. They wanted to see if they had the race pace. He had enough of time behind him. So, just ultimately he ended up having the fastest lap of the race. I don't know if that is what they were trying to achieve, but it didn't make any harm to anyone.
But Pirelli is going to give them 4 extra tires to McLaren because Hamilton asked for them.
I loved it when it happened. I still remember my dad and I were watching and I was making some notes and my dad jumped out of his chair and he said, oh, look where Lewis is gone. I said, for a fraction of a second, also hoping that in the same excitement,
Yes.
McLaren actually end up servicing his tires as well.
Yes, McLaren drivers were seen laughing at him. And home is always home. But
I'm going to hold you. Imagine if McLaren had actually done the pit stop. What would the FIA have done? I would love to know that.
And I know who's to be penalized: Mercedes, Lewis, or McLaren in that case.
Just penalize all of them.
But one team that should be penalized, and I don't know what kind of an idiot call was that, to keep Alonso out on track with a hanging front wing, where he could have easily still come back to the race and got some points.
Yeah, it was a little surprising to see Alonso do that, because he's usually the guy who'll say the race is never won on the first corner or the first lap, it's always a long one, etc., etc. And somewhere that decision of his, that crash of him, reminded me of the Alonso in the Benetton days, the guy who I really used to hate. But I'm guessing in retrospect he will realize that he should have just come and pitted and not waited an extra lap to change tires, or possibly hope to change tires.
Have you ever seen Harry Potter?
No.
Do you know about the invisibility cloak? Yeah,
I've heard of it, but I'd like to know your view.
Kimi Raikkonen wore it yesterday. Where the hell was he? Where was our debut winner?
I have no idea. I think the Kimi that we love off track was the guy who was actually driving the car. I still don't have any glimpses of him. I think
leave me alone. He was actually left alone.
Yeah, I think the only thing I remember is him and Hülkenberg brushing tires one corner. That's it. Otherwise, I have no idea what he was doing.
Good race for Hülkenberg there.
First race was Sauber, scored points, etc. Makes sense.
Fought with a Lotus, so that's kudos.
Yes, of course.
One team that would not be very happy with what happened in the pit stops was Caterham.
I don't think a lot of teams were happy yesterday, in the race, because you had McLaren have a pit stop issue. You had Caterham and Toro Rosso.
Yes, it was.
Come together in the pits. You had Williams not scoring points, and your best friend Crashonaldo crashing. Thankfully, he didn't crash into anyone. He just took some wings off. Okay, then we had the issues with Red Bull and Mercedes, which was down to team orders. So I think the only guy who left Sepang happy was Jules Bianchi.
Yes, he actually had an event-free race. Nothing to complain of.
He was fighting Valtteri Bottas. He was fighting Pastor Maldonado. He of course beat the Caterhams and his teammates. So I think a great start to the season for him.
Alright then. Massa lost some pace. We didn't any. Because we have kept you up to date with Formula 1 and beyond. Because Naren and Karun, our Indian mascots for racing, have come up with new deals.
Finally, they have announced their driving plans for 2013. So Naren has switched from Formula 1 to AutoGP. Okay, which is what Roman Grosjean, again a friend of yours, won in 2010. It was called the Euro Series to 3000. Okay. And Karun Chandok, just a few hours back earlier today, announced that he will race in the GT World Series starting next weekend as well.
Figure one final question.
Sure.
Controversy good for Formula 1, bad for Formula 1?
Well, you can't take controversy away from the sport. Okay, frankly, it's really good for Formula 1 from a PR point of view, because you will not believe, but the amount of conversations that have possibly happened because of those team orders that we saw yesterday are probably 10, maybe 15 times more than what a usual race would have seen. So it's actually good for the sport.
Yes, controversy is good, racing is better. Imagine if the racing has bought us this in 2 weeks, what it could do in 18 weekends. And all those 18 weekends will be brought to you by the Inside Line. Kunal Shah and Rishi Kapoor are going to be at your service in your ears.